Chapter 21. After Wen got home, at a reasonable time for once, she ate dinner with her brother. He had his head buried in a book, she in a report. This was normal for the Price twins, as they both lived by the saying that polite conversation was a waste of time and energy. Aaron got up and went to the fridge. "Would you like some water?" He brought a bottle back to the table. It was filtered tap water decanted into a bottle with a stopper, the type that sometimes needs quite a lot of encouragement to release. These bottles lived in the fridge, so there was always cold water to drink. Wen had argued that they could just buy bottled water from the shop, and Aaron had argued that that was a waste of money, which added more plastic to the already growing mountain of human detritus. Aaron didn't usually lose his battles, but then he did choose them well. "I'd rather have wine," said Wen, and got up to help herself. Aaron tutted, which she ignored. "How's Mrs. G?" Wen asked to divert him. "Fully recovered," said her brother, "but you'll have to pay her overtime to get the house back to the way it was." "Me?" "Yes, you. You haven't done a thing while she was off. It's your mess she has to work extra hard on." Aaron's head went back into his book. Discussion over. Wen looked around her and couldn't see anything different. Yes, of course, the place is a tip. She drank some wine, promising herself more when Aaron had taken himself off to his rooms. This was definitely a 2-glass night. "How are you?" In another room, in another place, a second bottle of wine had just been opened. Elliot had cooked spag bol for their evening meal, washed down with a bottle of red, and now they were sitting on the settee, their glasses replenished. "I'm not bad," said Becky. "I meant it. If I think too much about what, if, and why, it freaks me out. Therefore, I try not to." She took another sip. "This is very nice wine, but I do think this glass will have to be my last. I don't want to go into the interview tomorrow all woolly-headed, and as usual, I've had the lion's share." "Some did go into the sauce," Elliot said, to try and make her feel less guilty. Becky had told Elliot that they might have identified the murder victims, and that a relative had come forward with information, but that was all she had divulged. It was good to be able to tell someone who wasn't involved, though. A sort of release valve. "So, do you think you might be closing in on whoever did these murders?" he asked. Becky considered. "We're closer than we were a few days ago, but we had jack shit a few days ago, so that's not really saying much." She put her glass down. "Why, do you want your bed back?" "What? No, of course not. I mean, this nightmare might be over for you soon, that's all." "Thanks, Elliot." She leaned into him. "I mean for everything. The bed, the food, the support. I miss this." "So do I, Becky." Was it her imagination, or did he have tears in his eyes? He quickly regained his composure. "But not enough to kill 2 people, which is what your boss seems to think." "Sorry about that. If I said she was only doing her job, would that make it any easier?" Elliot laughed. "Don't worry, I know she has to cover all the bases." "And she did play softball with you," Becky said with an impish smile about her lips. "She didn't haul you down to the Nick and interview you there." "If that's her playing softball, I'd hate to see her playing hardball," Elliot retorted. "Exactly. I've got a lot of people looking out for me, so try not to worry when I leave." He sat up and stared at her. "Leave? Who said anything about you leaving?" "Elliot, I need my own place. I'm going to look at a few flats to rent until the house sells." Her ex-husband looked dejected. Is there anything I can do to change your mind? No. But you can come to the viewings with me, please. As a bodyguard or an advisor? Both. Cassie sat at home, going over the information that Becky and the DI had obtained from their new witness. She might not be privy to the actual interview tomorrow, but she wanted to be fully up to speed. She wasn't happy that she'd been sidelined for this important lead, but she had enough sense to know that the boss was right. Becky had got the woman's confidence, which went a long way when interviewing anyone, especially if that person had come from a country where interview techniques were a little different from those in the UK. Even though Cassie had only been in the job for 10 years, she'd lost count of the number of times they'd arrested someone who the police knew, without a shadow of a doubt, had committed a crime, but they couldn't prove it. Apart from the death knock, the hardest part of the job for Cassie was watching someone walk out of the custody suite with a big grin on their face, the police knowing that they would reoffend and not being able to do a thing about it. She could understand why some rogue police officers took the law into their own hands. She didn't agree with it, but she did understand their reasons. In her experience, though, doing such things only ever came back to bite you in the bum, and hard. No, if they were going to nail this particular murdering bastard, it would have to be 100% kosher. But they needed to nail him, and soon. Richard was home alone. Pauline had gone to her yoga class, and usually that was his chance to watch football on the TV and down a few beers. But not tonight. He had an idea for a story and decided to get it onto his laptop before the muse left him. He had written since he'd been at school. Short stories, plays. God, he'd even written some poetry once. He didn't show anyone his work because he was afraid that people would laugh at him. Big tough Richard trying to be a writer. He could just hear the guys back at the station. A writer? Don't be ridiculous. Takes him all his time to write a report. So he wrote for fun. He wrote murder stories. One day he hoped he would have the courage to try and get them published and show everyone what he could do. That day would be so sweet.